All right, welcome everybody. It's October 11th, 2022. This is the bi-weekly Cloud Custodian community meeting. Please remember that we record these and upload them to YouTube and take notes. And as always, the CNCF Code of Conduct is in effect, so please be excellent to each other. It was just a holiday here in the US, so thanks for everyone remembering that today is not Monday. I almost missed this meeting. So if this is your first meeting, what we do is we have an open agenda here. It is available at this URL. I'll go ahead and toss it into chat, or you can just holler and I can add stuff. We'll go over a few things, and then we will go over some of the outstanding PRs and new features and stuff that are landing. So with that, anyone got any burning issues before we get started? All right. Governance updates, those are still pending. I'm kind of just keeping those there for us to review. It's kind of a work in progress. Governance's code day is next week. I know a lot of you here are doing talks for that. Just a heads up that is 1 week away. If you still need to register, you can just follow the URL there. Obviously, it's the event is free like it was last year, and it will be virtual, and we'll be making sure that the videos and all of that stuff will be available. But hope that you register and show up live anyway, because that's always a lot of fun, and we could just do an entire day of everybody sharing all their custodian tips and tricks, and that's always fun. So follow the link there. Here's the schedule. We've got a packed agenda, as well as a keynote from Ashley, who's the Director of Operations at the FinOps Foundation. So that's pretty awesome. And I see a lot of you in this meeting that are in giving talks there. So check that out if you have not yet already. We're testing Slack. I know that we have some people on there. I'm posting in the Getter to remind people to check out the Slack. Anybody have anything so far? I know I do. I'm in the process of redoing the website. So first of all, the Cloud Custodian website is now up to date, so it sends people to Slack. So that's a useful one. But for KubeCon, I'm trying to get up like a big button that says join Slack, so we can get a lot more people in there. So feel free. This is the URL to share this, communityinviter.com, and if they just put in their email, they'll get an invite, and then they do all the business. So that's all they're going to need to do that. Next up, I know KubeCon's on a lot of our minds. Sunny, do you want to give us a quick TLDR on the Kubernetes provider update? I know we have some documentation and policies that we want to share, and open it up to the floor here. Let's talk Kubernetes for a few minutes.
Yeah, a lot of the to-do items have been crossed off. The biggest outstanding change is probably going to rename the mode to Kate's controller, I think. But yeah, aside from that, the docs are now in a separate branch, but aiming to get that stuff all out by KubeCon for sure. There's also some additional work around a Helm chart for this, as well as some more examples on how to deploy and actually run it. So cool stuff to come. There's also going to be a talk at Governance's Code Day, just detailing some of this stuff, like a architecture overview, demo, and discussion of features and stuff.
Cool. And the Helm chart, is that you, John? You want to introduce yourself, say hello? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Hey, yeah, I'm John. Do you want to go to Custodian Helm chart? Show that.
Yeah, where do I do this?
It's just github.com/Cloud Custodian, and then it's the Helm charts repo instead of Cloud Custodian.
Okay, so
if you look at that open pull request, that's going to be the work that's going on there. It adds the admission controller, installs the admission controller in cluster. It sits on top of Cert Manager right now for generating the CA cert, the CA bundle for the admission controller. But docs are in there if you want to do a self-signed cert. and you just pass it in there with the CA bundle. But yeah, so all of that is ready to go and working. So if people want to start playing with that and testing it, once we're ready, we'll publish it and all that. But it's looking pretty good from the test so far. But yeah, that'll be the easiest way to get this up and running.
Right.
And you can test
Alright.
this if you go back to Sunny's PR or Sunny's repo, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So look at the pull request in his. There's a pull request called scaffold.
I see it.
So that pull request sits on top of that, and it'll actually use it, and it'll run the admission controller and everything with that Helm chart in a local environment. So if you want to get up and running and start testing the admission controller, the Helm chart, all of that, you can grab that branch right now and run one command, scaffold dev, and it'll spin it all up into your local cluster and get you testing it.
Got you. Awesome. All right. Anything else to add? I'll make sure that all of these links here make the show notes before I send them out today. Anything else
yeah,
from
if
you,
there's
Sonny?
any-
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, if there's any Kubernetes users in the crowd today, definitely let me know if there's things that you're looking for or things that other policy execution environments don't provide you. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Awesome. Moving on. We do have a survey running. I've linked this. This is linked in Slack, and I've sent it out in the notes, and I'll probably send it out again this week on infrastructure as code and CI/CD hosting. Kapil was just looking for more information while he's doing the work on a shift left. So if you've got a chance to fill this out, that would be amazing, or tell a friend. This one was on when I wanted to bring last week, which was 7553, which bring us to the define and use of integer variables. AJ, do you want to give us a quick summary on this?
Yeah. I mean, it was an interesting issue. I know the person who reported it, certainly not the only person to run into this sort of deal in the past. But the idea is that we were doing string formatting. So anytime, regardless of the type that you were using for a variable, it was always getting forced into a string from the policy evaluation side. So I took a look at it and said, well, all right, can we do kind of a special case handling of if we've only got one variable substitution in there and then just pass through the type of however you've defined it in your C7N org config or wherever it's coming from, and put together what was like an admittedly naive and hacky solution to say, like, what could this look like? And some other folks helpfully commented on it, and Kapil put together a solution that was like actually useful. And that's the one that got merged. So that'll just pass through variable type as defined, and Kapil just joined. So he joined like looking like, why am I getting called out for doing something useful?
No pressure. Any comments on this?
I think both approaches were valid. I think this like AJ also put together something that I think actually worked and would have solved the issue. I think this gives us. I think both AJ saw where the technique was used to give a lot more things, and so we saw this as a potential opportunity for places that we could grow in the future. But and it's been an issue, and I don't think we gave the right answers. Let's say the first time around, as far as fully understanding the problem. So, but I think we just accepted it as a known limitation previously, and now it's not. Actually, as a follow up to this, I'd actually like to unblock the VAR support on the regular Custodian CLI. As far as parity aspects to C7N org, we need to find vars freely in the config file. Now that we have this, I think it's just a question of making sure that we document vars, but I'm definitely open to, like, we used to have like just having it be able to pass in a vars file on the regular Custodian run command, I think would give us some parity aspects. And now that we have better syntax, I think, for preserving richer, more complex variables than strings, then I think that sounds good.
Do we have an issue filed for that, or is that just something we can take away here and log?
I feel like we probably do.
Okay. Go check for that. Yeah, that does sound helpful, and just pass in the YAML file. Like I mean, since we're talking about shifting left in Terraform anyway, then var file seems very
Well, the shift left stuff is definitely on its own CLI, so maybe we don't.
All right, well, I'll get one logged for that then, and if it ends up being a duplicate, we can call it out there.
Oh yeah. Well, 938 is probably the closest thing to it.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's 894. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, either one of these is, I think, reasonable. But I mean, and the reality is, we supported Instance 7 in Oregon. We just weren't comfortable with where that was to unlock it here. But parity, I think, is the right answer. So. You made it, George. I see your lips moving.
No wonder you can't hear me. Yeah, should I reopen this?
I think the other one is maybe, I can't tell. The other one, if we go back, I mean, this seems like the right one. I just don't know what all those merges are that are associated to in this issue, because I don't think they're actually related.
Yeah, it's still open.
Oh, this was a group that was actually trying to help us with this, but I don't think they got to an answer either.
Okay. Should we open a new one or
No, it's good.
scrub this?
I think
at some
this
point?
is still, can't scrub it. It's all references. I don't know why, but
Yeah. Do you you don't want me to like mouse or put this on the roadmap or anything, do you?
yeah, you can.
All right.
I think the scope went from large to small. Like we actually had the CLI flag that I'm talking about is actually commented in the code. We just have to pass it through the right places per se. I think hang it off execution context and then get policy get variable stuff either pulls from it.
Okay.
But yeah, sounds good.
Does that work? Yeah, there we go. A quick tip here for those of you that do not know, we do have a roadmap that we do keep updated. It's just at the org level and not in Cloud Custodian. So if you go to,
I do believe they do have V2 boards at the project level now too, as well. By the way.
Yeah, is this V2? How do I know?
So you can go from the org. Like I think you can do this at the project level now as well. It doesn't have to be at the org anymore.
Oh, okay. I thought we purposely did it at the org level.
I think at the time we did it, it was limited to only org level,
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
which is fine because I think we want to go across some of the repos. So I'm
Okay.
fine with it there. But just pointing out that it can be. But we should actually probably close out the one at the.
Yeah, we have
actually document the link in the README, like the actual roadmap link, and then close out the old roadmap because it's what you see at the project level and it looks out of date.
Yeah. So I remember trying to clean those out, but we also weren't sure as a group which ones needed to be moved over. You know what I mean? Whether we were like starting from scratch or should we try to migrate some of these? But I can offline that discussion and then I'll I can just make it reflect what we think we want.
I have a smile on my face as I look at investigate alternatives to Sphinx. I'll leave that aside.
All right. It's going to be a great KubeCon. Don't worry. We'll sort it. All right. So normally ahead of times, what I do is go through all the PRs and find out some of the interesting ones. But like I said, I thought today was Monday. So any of these jumping out at anybody, I wanted to make sure that we talked about 7553. I do know that there's been more work on the 10-cent provider. I don't know if anyone wants to give a 30-second update on that. And is Sunny back yet? Because we did a release, right?
We did, but the 10
Yeah.
second update on some providers, we're currently dealing with the time zone fund, and
Mhm.
we'll once we get
Okay.
that unblocked, we'll have a few more PRs. Sunny?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. Yes, we did a release 9.19. There are a few things that need to get resolved in a 9.20. So a 9.20 might be a fast follow on this. Namely, we did a poetry version increase that inadvertently pulled in some, the dev dependencies into the actual requirements for installing. I don't think it's going to particularly affect most people unless you've got other stuff in your virtual environment that you're installing Custodian into. But if it's a clean virtual environment installed, the only thing that's going to affect it is a slightly longer installation time. There was also another one around the mailer. So when we added GCP support, the C7 and GCP package was a required package, but I don't think it was added as a actual dependency. AJ's got a PR up, and I don't know if you guys talked about this while I was out, but that PR basically makes it so that the Azure and GCP packages become optional extras. I think the Azure bit is technically a bit of a breaking change because you'll have to do a pip install C7 mailer -- extras Azure. So we might do a larger version rev instead of just the patch. But yeah, AJ, if you've got any other context on that, feel free to jump in.
No, I think I would just say thanks for the reviews, the points on that, because you're right. We want to make sure it's really clear to people if we don't want everybody to have to install. And thanks to Scott Schwartz for bringing this up from the GCP side. We don't want people to need all the providers installed to run Mailer, but we also don't want to
Right.
surprise people and have them get some kind of weirdo error message if they don't, if they're missing a dependency.
Is there a PR for that? Is it open still?
Yeah, it's a 7857. Yeah, and so that just kind of that waits and imports the C7 and Azure or GCP bits later, and then throws and if the package isn't there, it just tries to give them a little bit of guidance at the command line, say, install this with the extras.
Okay.
I know Kapil mentioned needing some functional tests around this, so I guess I'm gonna have to come up with some functional tests.
It doesn't have to be a functional test. I just want to make sure that we actually we've had enough. We know that there's tests and gaps against Mailer, frankly, and the only way to be sure when we're making changes is that are significant, or is to actually go stand it up and run it, so to speak. If you want to set up a harness for that, that's great. If you want to do the simplest thing, that's great. I'm saying that we just need to validate it.
Yeah. I have only gotten as far as the unit level testing, and then the works on my machine about useful useful feedback at the CLI. So
and to be fair, I think we're just saying works on my cloud for 2 clouds. One of them, which is lazy loaded, is all we're really looking for, I think, to get to that. Because I mean, this is pretty normalized and it looks fine, looks good. I think it simplifies some stuff. The other question I had was whether or not we are differentially uploading packages based on the different environments. This is so that in GCP I don't have to load 500 a bunch of Azure stuff, and vice versa to other providers.
What this is, so the only things that I pulled out, I was nervous about breaking things out too much. I mean, this is just so it does make C7 and GCP and the Google storage package optional, and then also C7 and Azure makes that optional. so that you can install it with the extras definitions. I mean, I'm sure, I know Sunny was thinking we might be able to pull out SendGrid. It didn't look like we could, but there may be other stuff that we can pull out down the road. I just didn't want to go too hard and like pull out something that somebody cared about in a less obvious way.
Sounds good. I mean, I was also playing around with like Postgres groups, but they're not pip, you can't pip install that way. So the extra seemed like the right way.
Yeah, I tried a couple different ways too. Like I thought maybe we could make it like specifically for the dev install. I tried a couple different revs, but some ways of configuring it, it would like uninstall them as it tried to install the mailer piece, and so it's a little weird there.
All right. Anything else on this?
Nope.
Now, Sunny, for .20, are you thinking before or after KubeCon? Because you had mentioned a quick follow up. I just want to.
Well, I wanted to get the mailer stuff addressed, so it was going to come before KubeCon. But I mean, if Kapil, if you've got other stuff that you want to wait for another release, or you want to wait for .20 on.
For the mailer stuff?
I'm just saying, like, for the .20 release, if there's other stuff that's in the works that you want to get in. I mean, we could also cut a .20 and a .21.
I mean, I'd like to. It would be nice to have a release fresh before Custodian Day. So I don't know. It doesn't.
Cloud Custodian Day is exactly a week from today, though. I just want to make sure that we account for that. You know,
and it's virtual, so I'll release the day before.
All right, sounds good.
I mean, I don't know that we're gonna have.
Y'all kill me some days, man.
I mean, I don't know if it's necessary, but like, we should come to that see in a moment. I don't know that we need to, like, some of the roadmap discussion and is things that are in progress. You know, I don't know that we're telling you when to rush into prod to speak or rush with trunk in. So like, I don't know that it. Like, the entire reason for regular cadence is just to avoid that type of pressure, anyways. So I'm fine if we push off as well. Like, we already have a release for this month, technically.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm happy to do it either way. Like, if we feel like there's, like, I know there was at least one thing with that dev packaging issue. I think that, and so that was like a brown bag release, and we should just do it. So like on a brown bag release, ASAP has shown me the right answer. So good. I did notice something that, like, there's a couple of PRs that are touching packaging. So you're gonna, like, whichever one gets merged is going to conflict with all the others, so to speak, or all the others are going to end up conflicting.
Yeah, it's always fun with those PRs.
The general answer is blow it away and copy from trunk or do the package rebase thing, dance.
Yeah.
Steve, you got this issue with a new dep?
I didn't know where to fit this in, but yeah, I rebuilt, I updated this morning and had to install Python 3 devel now, which makes my container a lot bigger. I didn't know if this was known or we don't care.
Like, was that when you were building a certain wheel? Like, did you have to build something where there wasn't a wheel available or something?
Install upgrade.
I blame gRPC.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, I don't know. So, like, typically that Python 3 dev package requirement is going to be on the basis that something had to be be like, and that means you also needed a
GCC
essential compilers, a whole bunch of other stuff.
Those already, but this one was something new today that this update had. Just wanted to let you know. I didn't know if anybody knew or.
So, out of curiosity, so you use Amazon Linux as your base container?
Yeah. 2022, not 2.
I believe the only change that we had was Something that John had as far as optimizing our container image builds just to be reproducible, but I mean, we don't actually have a Red Hat Linux, an Amazon Linux image, so I also don't know what your Docker file looks like, so I have no idea.
Yeah,
as well.
I could send it in. I mean, it's not an issue. It's just it bombed, which is unusual. Usually, I just hit, pip install update C7N C7N org, and then it just goes through. No red, just works.
Out of curiosity, why use one of those images versus the existing Docker files that we distribute and support and test?
Oh, this is just the normal image that I have to test everything I do. So this was just the latest build that runs a whole bunch of automated containers.
Yeah, I mean, outside of following an issue with your Docker file, like, because that's not something we distribute, we have no idea what that is.
Of course, yeah. Oh, it's ARM 64.
And now gRPC becomes likely again. But
I'm only on Graviton now.
Anything else? Light agenda today.
Oh, actually, related to the release, and speaking of ARM, there is now ARM support on the latest tag and 9.19 tag as well in Docker. And those images are also signed. This,
cool.
I think, is the first release for all that stuff.
I haven't played with them yet, but I know you kind of built them because I kept complaining.
Not just you. I mean, to be fair, like your ARM thing represents a cost savings opportunity, and it's been referenced by multiple people. So.
Yeah,
we should tweet that. Sonny, I'll chase you down on Slack, and then you tell me what to tweet.
Sure, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just give him your creds, and then he can sign the tweet.
No. Distroless packet containers will be next, right?
No.
Distroless
is not something we're going to support. Like, it is a negligible size delta. It's effectively Debian strip out a couple things. It doesn't really. It's not meaningful from a performance or size perspective or security perspective, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. Yeah, like our images are big because of Azure, and Distroless does not solve that.
Yeah.
It's 50 megs on a 1 gig over 1 gig image. That's not even.
I'm totally optimizing
and
for
it's
the wrong
effectively going to
thing.
double because we're doing cross arch. And cross arch is slow. It's going to significantly increase time. There was a question comment from somebody that does contribute to Distroless about that, and that's like, we distribute them, we don't build them. There was also almost zero usage on Distroless as well.
All right. Anything else on this list? Jumping out at anyone or any other things?
Would it be worth adding it or extending this functionality for Custodian lambdas as well?
Yes, it would be. How Custodian packages up stuff is like, we sniff the local file system. This is partly development use cases and different use cases. We sniff the local file system, we hoover everything up, and we stick it in the Lambda. So I think now that we have proper ARM support, I think the right answer for us is going to be whatever the host architecture is what we default to.
Yeah.
As we go create lambdas, so that way we can just, whatever we hoover up, if there's an extension or a binary in there, we'll do the right thing. If we
got it,
the cross architecture stuff, it's conceivable. I just except for things that get wonky like gRPC. So I think we'll do the safe, simple thing that if you're already running ARM for your host, then you'll get ARM lambdas.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. Got it. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yep. Thanks.
All right. Last call.
Actually, we should double check that, like, just to make sure that, can we drop that in the roadmap, by the way, or something?
Yeah. What number you want?
I think it's
There's a ticket for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to issues and look for ARM and Lambda,
7086.
Is it a PR or an issue?
Issue.
Yeah, if no one is working on it, I can give it a shot.
All right.
Actually, we can close 6102, or Sonny, you can, since we now have ARM images now.
And are these
Sounds good.
merged?
6102
No, those are merged.
is the one around ARM images, which are now there.
All right, so we're closing that. All right. Anything else on the roadmap? All right. So when it's Custodian Day, about a week from now, if you went last year, we kind of went over the roadmap and the stuff that we've accomplished this year. So if you're looking for a summary of this year's worth of meetings, basically, that's what I will, Kapila and I will be covering there. So I'll make sure that we cover all of this stuff. Anything else? All right, great, everyone. In 2 weeks, it is KubeCon, so I'm going to try to pull off a. We'll try to do the community meeting as normal there. Some of us will be at KubeCon, and we'll figure out a way to dial in. If not, you will have a guest host to be determined. And with that, everyone, if you're traveling, travel safe. And if not, we'll see everyone in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone, for participating. And notes will be out probably first thing tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks all.
Thanks.